Alright, welcome to a draft through MTGSpeculation.com. Here with Oath of the Gatewatch. I'm doing a 64-man queue here. Our open wasn't great. Oath of Jace is only marginally playable. But there's some good stuff in the pack. The uncommons aren't fantastic. I mean, Havoc Sower is good. But not really a card that I want to first pick. It's just sort of a medium creature. And it's not a card that pushes me into wanting to have colorless available. Really for me the picks are Isolation Zone, Dwar Isle Avenger, Tar Snare are probably the three cards I would be looking at, and Isolation Zone is just far and away the best. Storm Chaser Mage is fine, but really it needs a lot of support to be great. To be better than Isolation Zone, it needs a lot of help. And I've been really impressed with white in the format, so. Okay, this is kind of a sweet pack. So, Zendikar Resurgent, probably not getting there to be able to cast that. Fortunately, the best card in the pack is probably also in white, which is Allied Reinforcements. I think it's better than Wall of Resurgence. White is much more proactive in this format than it even was in BFZ, where the blue-white flyers deck really wanted walls and things like that, and making my land vulnerable I found to be a pretty big cost. When people play this against me, I find that normally I'm able to punish them for it. So I'm going to take Allied Reinforcements. This is a really nice value card. Great with all the cohort in white. Inverter of Truth is a sweet card. Just overall, but sweet doesn't equate to good. I'm not going to risk a pick on that. Here I have some interesting options. I can hedge into white-black. In this pack, there are 4 black cards and a black dual land. There's a good, this is a good white creature. And then there's a Path Warden in green. And I do really like white-green. I like white-black as well. This gives me a third 4-drop, but I think the upside is so high that I'm just going to take it. And it's probably just the best card in the pack anyways. Oh wow. Okay, so this is interesting. Boulder Salvo is the best common in this pack. For what I'm doing, I'm not going to start moving to... I don't like blue-white. And even though there's a Cultivator drone and a Blinding drone here, I don't want to move that direction. I want to either take the Cleric or the Auxiliary. It's starting to look like green is pretty open as well. And maybe black's not quite as open. I do want to take a cheaper play here. I think I'm probably just going to take the Cleric. It works really well in the white-black deck, and you need 2 drops in this format. And it doesn't commit me to green necessarily. I don't like passing 2 great green cards there. Just in case that is where I'm supposed to be. And now there's no black. So I'm probably going to have to adjust here. Harvester Troll isn't very great. Stalker Drone isn't great. The best card in the pack, or the 2 best cards in the pack are Reality Hemorrhage and Scythe Master. I'm going to take the Scythe Master though. It keeps me on color. I've passed a couple good red cards. If it continues to flow, I'll pick something up. But for now, I'm just going to take allies and try to stay white and feel out where I should be in this draft. Okay. So this is probably the last pack I really want to hedge. I can actually forestall my decision a little bit longer by taking another Scythe Master or taking Spawnbinder. I think Spawnbinder and Chain Mage are sort of on the same level. Science Summoner is quite good, and I do love green-white in this format. Kind of sucks that I passed up on an auxiliary. I'm gonna stay the course. That was a really close pick. And that looks to have paid off. I have an unnatural endurance. It's like the third one I've seen in like 4 packs. There's another chain mage, which is another 4. And I think this is the ally that plays the worst with the white-black theme of sort of stalling the ground. And I think I have 2 Scythe Masters which want to be relatively aggressive, so I probably pair better with green. But I think here I'll just take the chain mage. This is interesting. This is a lot of red pretty late in this pack. The black card's not good. There's no white card. I'm probably on the Flame Seeker. Bushwhacker. I don't have a lot of cheap stuff yet. I don't like Shitness Cloak at all, or Chitinous Cloak. Coon Flame Seeker. Let's take that. Okay, so here's my wheel pack. 2 blue cards left, not great ones. There's a pretty medium green card. I'll just take the white trick. Now the question is whether or not I care about signaling late. I don't think Mighty Leap is much of a signal. And I'm not going to run 2 of them. I probably won't even run the 1 if I end up with a good enough deck. Here I'll take the Gambit. I could end up in red-white, sort of aggressive, which I'm perfectly fine with. I have a nice shell for that right now. I'm still not sold on the red at all. Pulse is just the best card in that pack. Unfortunately, in the middle of that pack, I did pass quite a bit of decent white, and I passed an auxiliary. Which means I probably put a player on my left into green-white. Maybe not the player on my direct left, but probably one more downstream. So most likely white's going to be a little bit more dry in this pack, but I should see either a ton of black or a ton of red. Okay, well, Cletus is worth like 20 tickets, and he's amazing. And he's certainly a reason to commit to white-black. From this pack, I could wheel Havoc Sower, Dazzling Reflection, which is medium, Chain Major, Crawler. I probably won't wheel the Envoy. A lot of people are pretty high on that card. I'm kind of happy I stayed relatively open. I could have been very committed to green-white at this point and then taken the Summoner. But fortunately, we opened Cletus. Got paid off. Alright, well, I need to capitalize on the black in this pack. And Envoy is just better than Searing Light anyways. So okay, this is going pretty well. I think we're white-black. I'm not going to hedge anymore. Okay, Spawn Binder Mage works very well in this archetype. I can wheel a Dazzling Reflection or an Unnatural Endurance, which again, I'm not super high on either of those. The Unnatural Endurance is pretty good though. Okay. Excuse me. Envoy number 2. We have a couple cohort guys. Well, we have 3 cohort guys and a lot of allies. We have a lot of 4s, so that's something to keep an eye on. We're definitely going to be prioritizing 2-drops. The really nice thing about white-black is both of the colors are pretty deep when you're in the white-black archetype, and the BFZ packs are much better for white-black than they are most other archetypes, because the same synergy is essentially still there. You're still running allies, and white and black both have a ton of removal at common and uncommon in BFZ. Wow. Gladeheart Cavalry, so maybe I didn't put somebody in green-white. That's really late for that to be available. I could see a perfectly reasonable argument for Warden of Geometries. One thing worth noting is I haven't really seen many of the support cards. I cannot bring myself to draft a 1/4 Vigilance for 3. So I'll take the overrun effect. Okay, perfect. This is exactly what I want. Shoulder to shoulder. Gives me some card acceleration and makes my Scythe Masters extremely hard to deal with, or makes my Vampire Envoys really hard to deal with. Boulder Salvo. Red's been very open, but I think staying white-black has worked out pretty well. So I'll take the Sky Climber. Perfect. Aeronaut. Okay, so this is a hard pick. This is our opening pack, and we wield the Chain Mage and the Dazzling Reflection. We already have one trick, 2 tricks if you count Make a Stand. And we're not going to be attacking that much. We have 6 4s already, though. I'm going to take Chain Mage. Dazzling Reflection is better than I thought it would be, but I'm still not going to take it. So going into the BFZ pack, I'm looking for removal, another finisher, maybe a top end card, 5 or 6 drop, and I'm looking for cheap allies. Okay, and we got a Dazzling Reflection anyways. I wouldn't even be opposed to like a Fortified Rampart or something along those lines. Cards that are sort of marginal. I'm looking at the 2 tricks. Whoops. Shoulder to shoulder is not marginal. That's certainly making the deck. And one of the Chain Mages are probably the 3 cards that are sort of on the chopping block. So we already have 18 playables, which is a ton, with a second Dazzling Reflection. So we're at 19 playables. I'll Make a Stand is the other one. So we have 4 cards that I consider marginal. Alpha Protector can go in that camp as well. Natural Endurance is pretty nice late. So we have 20 playables. You know, a few of which being fairly marginal. Let's just open Gideon. But in reality, Grip of Desolation, Complete Disregard, Drana's Emissary, you know, any of the white removal spells, Colostra Healer. Alright, and we open the Grip, which outside of Gideon was probably the best. And I'm sure there's some rares, you know, that would have been great too, but Grip is like exactly what we need. We could wheel like a Ghostly Sentinel, which probably won't make the deck. I think we have enough ally synergy that it's not highly likely. We'll take the Grip. Okay. So we definitely want 2 drops. Retreat to Hagra, Culling Drone, not great for us. I would have loved for there to be a white removal spell in this pack. An uncommon was taken. There's a Touch of the Void here. Vile Aggregates here. Which isn't as good in this format, no. I'm going to take the Castigator. It's a cheap ally. Decent support target. Alright. So we have Clastria Nightwatch and Retreat to Emeria. Retreat to Emeria is an absolute bomb. It's great with our ally synergies. It's really great if we pick up a healer. It makes Make a Stand quite a bit more playable. Being able to do something like play land, pump the team, and then make a stand, it's probably just a winning line in a lot of situations and most board stalls. I could wheel the Nightwatch easily. I could wheel Inspired Charge, probably not going to run it though. I don't think I ever ran it in triple BFC. I could also wheel Sandstone Bridge. Okay, so we have Sheer Drop, which is almost certainly the pick. Gives us 3 good removal spells. I mean, Cutthroat, there's an argument for it. There's an argument for Nirkana Assassin as well, but gotta take the removal spell. So we're already at 24 playables. Our curve is looking like this is a 17 land deck, even though we have Retreat to Emeria. We don't have anything more expensive than 4 outside of a removal spell at this point. We have 3 2-drops. I would still like to see one more. Like a healer would still be great. Serene Steward would be great. Okay, this is an interesting pack. Because there's a lot for us here. There's a Courier Griffin, which is an evasive creature. Gives us a trigger off of Cliffhaven. There's also Smite, which I'm a little bit less interested in. It's a card I'm likely to see one later. Goldraws is pretty good with Retreat. It's good with Allied Reinforcements. It's not a card I really ever ran in triple BFC, but this is a little bit different. I think I'm probably on the Griffin. Ramparts I would be fine with. Smite I would be fine with. So I'm going to take the good creature. Alright, Gideon's Reproach is perfect. Oh wow, there we go. So we got a healer. Super late. Nothing for us there. Alright. So this is our open. We'll take the lookout. Yeah, we're going to have to really look at our playables. We definitely ended up in the right colors. We were sort of... Like, obviously black wasn't super open. But it was open enough. White was very, very open. Retreat to Hagra. I mean, I'm going to take it over the Greathorn, just because I won't run Greathorn. But Retreat to Hagra is not what my deck wants to do. I don't have enough of the payoffs. I'll take Blighted Step, though, and I'll run it. I'll hate a Boiling Earth. So I think this draft ended up going extremely well. I have a ton of playables. I'm going to have a really deep sideboard. Having access to 2 Dazzling Reflections is actually really nice in this format because some of the decks can be blisteringly fast. And having access to that type of effect in multiples is really good out of the sideboard. And we have a ton of life gain, so we should be able to withstand some of the... I'm going to hate a Stone Fury. We should be able to withstand early aggression pretty easily. So what generally happens in these 64 mans is There's the one guy that was super gung-ho about the 64-man and then slept through the draft. So there ends up being one pod that takes every possible second of time. So I'm going to pause until I'm able to actually make the deck. Alright, so we're back. It literally took like 15 minutes. Okay, so the first thing I have to do is just look at all my removal because I cannot cut removal. In this deck, I only have 4 removal spells. I'd prefer to have 1 more. I kind of regret not taking Smite because I'm not even sure I'm going to run this Courier Griffin, because I think otherwise every single creature in my deck is an ally. So having one sort of random one at my most cluttered position probably isn't the greatest. The one thing is it's nice to have another flyer in this deck to chip away. But Allied Reinforcements is also a 4-drop that's basically a creature, and same thing with Retreat. So the 2 cuts, I think Spawnbinder Mage is just too good in this deck. The 2 cuts that I'm looking at for creatures, well, I'm certainly not going to run Cliffside Lookout. There is some tension in my build between sort of, having tokens and having pump effects that makes Cliffside Lookout good, but I don't want to have redundancy in that effect beyond Retreat and one of those effects, and I think I would rather have Make a Stand because it works as a trick to save, a creature or to win combat or something like that. Shoulder to Shoulder is going to stay because I have no card acceleration at all, and it's extremely good with both the Scythe Masters and the Vampire Envoys. I'm going to cut Alpha Protector here. I'm probably going to cut one of these 2-drops when all is said and done. I think I am going to run Make a Stand for the reasons I said before. It is sort of like a really narrow counter spell when you need it to be, and does have the flexibility to be a win condition as well. Then I have Mighty Leap, which probably is worse than both Unnatural Endurance and Dazzling Reflection in this particular deck, because I have enough flyers and I have enough creatures that can either become evasive or have evasive keywords. So Core Scythe Master having First Strike, with Retreat, Make a Stand, Shoulder to Shoulder, those types of things, they can become huge powerhouses. And then I do have a lot of evasive attackers anyways. I have ways to sort of cheat damage through with Drain and with Chain Mages. So the first thing I have to do is decide which of these tricks I'm going to cut. I'm going to cut 2 of the 3. I'm probably just going to run a Natural Aggression because it's the cheapest. That could be wrong though. So I have to make one more cut. I think I like all my 3-drops. Like I said, all of these are essentially evasive. Of my 4-drops, I like running at least one Chain Mage. And then the question is whether I run an additional Chain Mage or I run the Courier Griffin. The Griffin gives me a life gain trigger, but it's less synergistic with the rest of my deck. Chain Mage is a really good attacker with both Pump from Retreat and Make a Stand. 4-2 attacks for a lot, and if it attacks as a 5-2 indestructible, it's even better. And in some cases, it'll be attacking as like a 6-3 indestructible. So I think I like Chain Mage better. I'll cut the Griffin. So now I really do regret. I picked this over Smite, which in retrospect was probably wrong. I'm running the Unnatural Endurance over it just because it's cheap interaction. And can serve to like save my Kalitas, save my flyers or whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and add lands to this. And I think 9-7. I think I want 8-8. Yeah, and I'll go ahead and run that and submit. I'll see you guys in the first round.